The year is 480 BC. At a narrow coastal pass named Thermopylae, the Hot Gates, the history of the world holds its breath. On one side, the largest invasion force the world has ever seen, hundreds of thousands of warriors from the Persian Empire, led by a king who considered himself a god, Xerxes the Great. On the other, a few thousand Greeks, and at their heart, 300 warriors from a city-state unlike any other, Sparta. Their king, Leonidas, was under no illusions. He knew that he and his brothers were facing almost certain death. When the Persian emissary demanded they lay down their weapons, Leonidas gave a reply that would become legend. Molon Labe, come and get them. This is not the story of a battle, but of a saga written in blood. The story of how 300 men changed the world. This storm was born from vengeance. 10 years prior, Xerxes' father, Darius, had tasted a bitter defeat at Marathon. Now, Xerxes, with an army that the historian Herodotus described as numbering in the millions, was determined to crush Greece and bring it to its knees. He demanded earth and water, a symbol of absolute submission. Many Greek city-states, terrified, complied, but not Sparta. Sparta was a society born for war. From the age of 7, its boys were taken for a brutal training regime called the agoge. They learned to endure pain, hunger, and fear. They were taught that the highest glory was to die for Sparta on the battlefield. And Leonidas was the perfect embodiment of that law. Before his departure, Leonidas visited the oracle at Delphi. The prophecy was grim. Either Sparta would be destroyed, or a king of Herculean descent must fall. Leonidas left accepting his fate, not to win a battle, but to light a fire of hope for all of Greece. Thermopylae was the perfect geographical trap. A narrow pass squeezed between mountain and sea, it completely neutralized the Persian advantage in numbers. Here, the small Greek force could form a phalanx, a dense wall of men, shields, and spears. For 2 days, Xerxes threw his best troops into the pass. The Medes, the Scythians, and even his famed immortals were crushed and repelled by the bronze wall of the Greeks. Their discipline, unity, and skill seemed unbreakable. Xerxes, watching from his throne, was said to have leapt to his feet in horror 3 times. But when force could not prevail, betrayal emerged. A local man named Ephialtes, motivated by greed or resentment, showed Xerxes a secret path through the mountains, a path that would lead the Persians behind the Greek lines. When he learned he was being outflanked, Leonidas faced a final, fateful choice. He ordered the bulk of the allied Greek army to retreat, to save themselves to fight another day. He and his 300 Spartans would remain. With them, 700 Thespians volunteered to stay and fight for freedom, and about 400 Thebans were kept as hostages. On the 3rd day, there was no more defense. The last of the Greeks charged from the pass, unleashing death upon the Persian ranks. They fought like cornered lions. When their spears broke, they used their swords. When their swords dulled, they used their bare hands and teeth. Leonidas fell, and a fierce battle raged over his body. The last survivors retreated to a small hill, fighting to the last man, to their last breath, under a final, overwhelming storm of arrows and spears. Xerxes had won the Battle of Thermopylae, but it was a costly victory. He had lost tens of thousands of soldiers, and, more importantly, his army's morale was shaken. The sacrifice of Leonidas was not in vain. It bought precious time for the Greek city-states to rally their forces. It became a powerful symbol, a call for unity. A year later, at Plataea and Salamis, the Greeks, inspired by the 300, would utterly defeat the Persian invasion, saving their civilization. Later, at Thermopylae, a monument of a lion was erected to honor Leonidas, with an epitaph that reads, "Go tell the Spartans, stranger passing by, that here, obedient to their laws, we lie." Over 2,000 years have passed, but the story of the 300 still echoes through time. It remains an eternal testament to courage, to sacrifice, and to the will of free people fighting for something larger than themselves: freedom. The story has come to an end. If it left a powerful impression on you, please consider supporting the channel with a like and subscription. It's the best way to ensure more stories like this can continue to be told. Thank you.